JC, ek wil gou hê jy moet luister na wat hier aan die gang is in hierdie gesprek. En dan moet jy vir my na die tyd antwoord op iets wat ek weer gaan vra en gaan sê. Luister gou hierso.
But I think that's the perfect setting for a conversation about genocide. About not just genocide. Not just genocide, guys, but a white genocide.
The white one.
A white genocide.
The Woolies genocide.
Which, as we know, is the worst genocide of all.
You know of which, how many of you committed this week?
Me.
Apparently there's a lot of them in this country.
So personally,
Yes.
I always start my week with a genocide or two. All South Africans. This is what we do.
Yes.
You know, my father always used to tell me, Trevor, my two genocides.
Sorry, you're Swiss, father.
You know, Dan, don't spoil the jokes, bro. Why are you spoiling the jokes, Dan? Now I have to reveal to everyone that my father was a white man who lived in South Africa and loved it. Damn it, Dan. You're spoiling the narrative, Dan.
I thought it could have been an interesting narrative arc
Dan.
if the Swiss white man is also committing
Dan.
white genocide.
This guy, you're revealing my backstory, Dan.
Oh, no one read the book?
No one.
Everyone read the book.
But okay, so this you know what? This is what I found particularly strange about this conversation. A lot of the time I'll have a conversation with people and we're trying to like figure something out moving forwards. I feel like for this conversation, we're trying to figure something else. We're trying to figure something out backwards, right? Because I'll just put people on the timeline. So I know a lot of people in America, a lot of people in the UK, etc., are going, what is happening in South Africa? A lot of people are like, we heard there's a genocide. We heard that white people are being mass slaughtered. There's the whole thing. So then the whole world woke up. So you guys live in South Africa. I was in New York. Then I saw the stories start bubbling. So obviously I follow South African news. But you know, there's stories where it's like, guys, they don't come. Like ESCOM doesn't come. The story doesn't actually come to America, right? This story started overlapping. And slowly you started to realize that it became part of the news, like international news, okay? Then it was interesting. International journalists stepped in and said, we want to get to the bottom of what's happening, because how could a genocide be happening under our noses and we don't know about it, right? So the BBC, CNN, you name it. Yeah, I was even getting requests. People were emailing me, hi, Trevor.
Are you safe?
We heard there's a genocide.
I didn't ask if you're safe.
No one asked if I was safe, because they're like, we know where you live.
It would be incredibly funny if Facebook asked you to check in as a white person each day about whether you were still breathing. That would be very good.
But what was interesting was, as quickly as it blew up internationally, it dropped off. I saw conversations everywhere. One of them was, obviously, you went on Piers Morgan.
I went to my house.
You were in your house.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we start with this. Were you shocked, Dan, when you go on Piers Morgan and you're coming there to talk about the fact that there is no genocide? There's a whole panel of other people, you know, who are like, half of them are there to say there is a genocide, and then they go, there is no genocide. So maybe that's where I want to start. Like, how is it that there's a conversation that's going all over the world about a thing that isn't actually happening? And I don't mean like isn't happening like some people feel it is, some people isn't. No, it isn't actually happening.
At all.
So how did this start?
Yeah, so I think that over the last 10 years, a raft of genuinely very talented grifters in South Africa have snake oil salesmen this idea without saying it themselves on the last step. So someone like Ernst Ritz is very clever. He will twist the data and decontextualize facts to make it look like something particularly bad is happening. And then he will go on Jordan Peterson and Tucker Carlson, and he'll never say there's a white genocide. He'll stop just before and then let people fill in where he's directing it to. Similarly, most of this cuck has taken place on the dark place formerly known as Twitter, like aided and abetted by Elon Musk. And on Twitter, these big established public voices who need to have a degree of tetheredness to reality stop just short of saying this is the worst thing ever. Like with these race laws, they stop just short of saying there are more race laws than apartheid, therefore it's worse than apartheid. But then they let the anonymous bot troll campaigns on Twitter, which are sometimes just useful idiots, but sometimes paid for campaigners, jump to the last level. So there was this X account called Twatterbas, there still is, and Elon Musk reposted a lot of his stuff. Twatterbas was just lying about a bunch of things. But what happened was the public figures did the groundwork to allow the lunatics to then lie on top of what they were saying. And then it ended up being Musk repeating and sharing these kinds of nonsense ideas all the way into the White House. And then when Trump went executive order time, that's when it became around the world.
Yeah, that's when it became
Because frankly, I just feel like Trump and his right wing love a white victim. All of their immigration stuff in America is about be terrified of the brown person, be terrified of the non-English speaking person. They love a white victim. But it's hard to find white victims, guys. The history of the world makes it pretty hard to find white victims. But
Kyk, die ding is nou, wat hulle nou hier impliseer, is dat daar geen genocide of in Suid-Afrika plaasvind nie. Nou kyk, as jy gaan kyk na die United Nations definisie van 'n genocide, dan is die getalle wat hulle verwag van 'n land om aan te voldoen ongelooflik baie. Maar as jy gaan kyk na die hoeveelheid blankes wat in Suid-Afrika vermoor is, van 1994 af, toe die ANC ons government oorgeneem het, dan praat jy van 'n groot hoeveelheid, hoor. Dit voldoen miskien nie aan die letterlike hoeveelhede wat die United Nations stipuleer vir 'n moord konteks om aan genocide te voldoen nie. Maar as jy die hoeveelheid mense wat van 1994 af in Suid-Afrika vermoor is, nie net blankes nie, die hoeveelheid mense wat vermoor is in Suid-Afrika van 1994 af, op een hoop moet neersit, almal van hulle. Het jy enige idee hoe baie mense dit is? Nou, ek sê dit vir jou, die hoeveelheid blankes wat vermoor is, op 'n hoop op een plek, is alreeds so verskriklik baie, dat ek kan nie fathom hoekom hierdie gesprek enige waarde het vir 'n internasionale debat oor wat in Suid-Afrika aangaan nie, en whether it is a moral story nie.